What is up, party peoples? Bobo here, BrassReel Brothers. Thanks for coming back for another episode of, I don't know, a trailer breakdown. Yeah, I haven't been doing BrassReel tonight or anything like that on a regular, and I've been doing trilogies and beyond and discussions and like that, but I hadn't really got new names for like trailer breakdowns or anything. So anyways, thanks for joining me. But with Batman, the new trailer coming out yesterday, I didn't even realize it was out because I was doing my second half of the Batman franchise discussion with my buddy Esmaniac, which check that video out. That was like 2-3 months overdue. But yeah, we were just talking about Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. And before I knew it, like I was looking online this morning and it was like, what, a new trailer for the Batman? How did I miss that? So that's why I'm doing this right now. Seriously, that's not like me to miss a trailer like that and completely not discuss it. So I have to do it, especially since I discussed the original one. And the last one, it wasn't all that different from the first one. So I didn't feel the need to discuss it. But this one, I definitely feel the need to discuss because there's some cool stuff in here. If not anything, just the final scene at the end is just so dang cool. Good God. But I don't know if you guys are excited about it. And look, you know, Batman is my favorite. And I'll be honest. I'll be the first one to say I could do without. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, didn't mean to do that. I could do without Batman for a while. Now, I love Batman. I love reading him and I love the movies. But at this point, we're getting so oversaturated with Batman content all the time. And it's literally like no time has passed since Ben Affleck has been Batman. And in fact, he's Batman still, and he's going to be in The Flash. I know that's some sort of like segue out, and it's like a little time reversal thing because they're doing the Flashpoint story. But still, it's kind of that scenario with like Star Wars. When you start oversaturating it, it loses its oomph. And, you know, make us wait. I like that anticipation of like, oh man, remember what it felt like when you got Batman Begins? It had been so long since you got anything Batman quality. So finally, when we saw the trailer for that, it just meant so much more than now when we see a new Batman trailer. It's like, all right, well, let's see if he's going to pass the test. And I don't know. I wish they'd just give him a rest for a little while. With that being said, this movie does look amazing. I think it looks awesome. Every trailer looks better and better, especially this one. They are definitely going for a realistic approach. So, and another thing, I think they're doing the right thing with keeping Batman in his own universe and not trying to connect him to a bunch of other characters. And they're still going to do that with like the Flashpoint storyline and have the Michael Keaton going in there and all that. I'm talking about the way Nolan's trilogy works so well. I think that's what people really like about Batman. Have him just be on his own. When you start involving him with Superman and other things like that, while that works well in the comics, I'm not so sure it works all that great for the films. I think that we like to see more of that real Batman, no superpower type stuff, just the struggles that he deals with real crime in this terrible city, Gotham. And, you know, he saw his parents killed in front of him as a kid. So he's just all tormented from that. I like that Batman. Not that I don't like him being combined with Henry Cavill. And you guys, if you watch my channel, you know how I feel about Batfleck. I love him. I think he's still the best Batman on screen. But I got to tell you, boy, this Robert Pattinson, he's getting some run for the money. I mean, everything I've seen him in this looks badass. So with no further ado, let's get into this. The trailer breakdown for number 3, the third trailer of The Batman, which comes out in March, by the way. Look at Pattinson right there. Good God, he looks great. So these days you get a trailer before the trailer, or you'll get a trailer announcement a few days that a trailer's coming out. But even then, when the trailer, you're watching it, they give you this pre-trailer to the trailer you're about to watch. What's going on in society? I mean, I guess I like it. It's fine because we get more scenes, but it's just funny. So it starts off showing the back of the Batmobile like this, which we've seen before. We've seen all that. They are using more of a realistic car, but if you notice here in this opening scene basically is just him chasing the Penguin, it looks like. And I'm wondering if that's going to be an opening scene or an ending scene in this film, like maybe a post-credit scene or something, kind of like when you saw the Rhino in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 trailer, like all over the place. And then you only saw him at the very beginning of the movie and the very end of the movie. Wasn't even a part of the plot. And from what I understand, the Penguin is going to be more part of the plot going forward after this film. So I'm wondering if they are just going to open it up with this chase scene. So reason I'm saying all that is because in this, beforehand, we see the back of the car, and look at the frames of that car right there. It definitely looks like a roll cage, like a derby type car, that could just take a lot of damage. The frame wouldn't be easily broken. And the reason I'm saying that is because, look at that, just flying through real fast. And you get Pattinson, looking good in the suit. I got to say, I'm liking the slender, sleek vibe they're going with the whole cowl. They are doing sort of a hybrid of the 1960s Adam West Batman cowl a little bit. Even if you look at like the kind of markings and the threading and the stitching, not that it's just like it, because it's not. It's also kind of got like some Gotham by Gaslight stuff going with the collar and all that. But he's definitely pulling from that Adam West costume a little bit. But so this is where he's chasing the Penguin. And the reason I was saying that this car has got this, like, doesn't seem like it can take, seems like it can take a lot of damage, is because at first you're thinking, man, it's not the tumbler. It's not the tank, that we were used to in the Nolan series. Well, it does look like he's definitely going to roll through this mofo to the Penguin, because we see the Penguin right here about to shoot through this window. And that's after Batman's crashed him. And, I thought I had, oh yeah. So here we go. Like, Batman's chasing him right here. Oh, wrong picture there. And so you can see there, okay, look at this. There's a big cement culvert, I guess is what you call it, a culvert, or I think I'm saying that wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. It goes underneath driveways and stuff. Looks like he just slams through that, just boom. So obviously it can take some damage. And then when he's pulling up to the Penguin, Penguin's looking through his rear view, and you see him right there jumping through the flame, just like we saw in the other trailers. I love it. Looking back, and look, you can see Colin Farrell a little bit right there. You can kind of see Colin Farrell a little bit, but barely, man. I mean, he definitely looks super made up. And I like the idea of this Penguin they're going with. He's not a creature. He's just a mobster. That's it. Just nicknamed the Penguin. And then you get to see the Batmobile coming through the flames like that, which, it's the Batmobile, but it looks like more of a car that's just Batman's car rather than a Batmobile with a ton of gadgets. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of weaponry on there, but I don't think it's going to be like a gadgeted, fueled up car. You know what I'm saying? But then once it looks like he slams into the back of something, and you can see the car rolling like hardcore. And I mean, it's focusing on how badass this crash is. And Batman, it didn't do anything to the Batmobile. He's just rolling. So anyways, that's something that I just kind of wanted to bring out, because I do think, look at Pattinson right there. Just, man, screaming. I like that angry Batman while he's driving. That's really cool. We've never seen that before. But I like the idea that they're showing that this car is tough. It just might not be the Batmobile you're used to from the past. But I got ahead of it just a little bit, because right off we hear this woman talking. And look, I haven't done any research on this. I haven't looked up any, like, who this person is, because I kind of want to be surprised when I watch this movie. But you see this woman right here is talking to Bruce. And it looks like there's some sort of gathering. And I think that's where we see that car in the trailer rolling through, which we'll see a picture of that in a second. I think this is the gathering they're at, but I'm not exactly sure who this woman is. And I don't recognize her from the comics of anyone's specific that I can just remember right off. And I don't think that they're using her as a different Amanda Waller. I definitely don't think that's what that is. So anyways, I'm just curious to who this woman is, because she's obviously talking to Batman about your family is philanthropist. Your Wayne name has a lot of weight behind it, and it seems like you're not doing anything with it. And then it shows all these little things right here. Pattinson with the glasses on. Obviously, he's been fighting late at night as Batman, and this is Bruce Wayne the next morning. You see a little clip of the bat symbol in the sky, and she just keeps on saying, I don't think you're doing enough about it. We see this looks like, I'm assuming this is Pattinson walking through. I don't know. There's a clip of him later. It shows him with the eyes and the makeup on his eyes. And that's another thing I like in this Batman. They're addressing the fact that he puts black makeup around his eyes so it looks good in the costume. He actually doesn't, which there's nothing wrong with that. I'd rather them do it. Like in Batman Returns, when he takes the mask off in front of Selena and he just rips it off, which by the way, you can just rip that rubber mask off. He goes from having black makeup on, he takes it off and he has no black makeup. Silly. Like, I like the idea that a person would put black makeup on. I mean, ninjas put camo on and military guys put camo on. So yeah, I think it's cool that they address it. He's doing it, but we'll get to that shot a little later. But I'm wondering again, who she is, who this woman is talking to him. And I like that when she says you're not doing enough, it just sort of shows him kind of having a smirk to him. And I'm not sure where that smirk is. I'm trying to find a picture of that. But anyways, I'm going to get past all that because we get all this stuff in this opening scene with her talking to him. Oh yeah, it's right here. You see like a little cufflink of the Wayne symbol, the Wayne name, again, showing her talking to him. It looks like he's sort of thinking about his own about some stuff right there. And then, oh yeah, this is where she's like, and I just don't think you're doing enough about it. And they show this whole crash scene of him just like, bam, rolling it up. And then he's just like, all right, you don't think I'm doing enough about it? Little giggle. I think that's kind of cool. But then after all of that, then we see the DC logo, like they're starting the trailer off finally, which god dang, that's awesome. Long though. I just think it doesn't, obviously I'm not bothered that the trailer's long. I love that. It's that they have this trailer to the trailer. It's like an opening scene to the trailer you're about to watch. It's just funny. They're forming these trailers like mini movies now. Which, hey, it's all about marketing and making you want to go see it. So, and it does. It makes me want to go see it. So immediately we see this, and we've seen this before in the past, and we think that that's the Riddler or one of the Riddler's henchmen taping up something right here. They show a clip of Batman, which at this point they're just going back and forth between clips. But God, look how good he looks in that suit. I mean, I really was worried when I first saw the parts of the suit, like in leaked photos back in the day. But man, it really does look good on screen, and it looks good on him. That cowl looks great, and people, let me know if you realize what I'm talking about or agree with me on that cowl looking like Adam West's cowl, sort of. Again, not the same. It's not exactly the same. It just pulls from it inspirationally, I think. But then we see Batman, and he's standing with a cop, standing over what looks like a riddle, something that the Riddler's laid out there. And that's what I like about this one. They're focusing on the riddles that the Riddler puts out. Boy, that's a mouthful. They're focusing on the riddles that the Riddler puts out. And they didn't do that enough in Batman Forever. I don't think that in Batman Forever, the riddles they made it more of this taking over the city with this machine thing that was so silly. I mean, we talked about that in our discussion yesterday. But one of the things I've always liked about the Riddler is he's slightly like the Joker in the sense that he likes to mess with Batman, but he messes with Batman on much more of an intellectual level, whereas the Joker messes with Batman on a psychotic level, and he likes to mess with Batman's heart, and he likes to really mess with Batman's emotions. I feel like the Riddler in the comic books has always been much more about messing with Batman's mind. And I'm really excited about that with Paul Dano playing the Riddler, because I feel like they're using that. They're showing him obviously leaving these things around, and we know what he's doing right now. He's duct taping up that one dude we see in the trailer. He's leaving clues around that seem like really hard puzzles to solve, not just like some sort of limerick, you know what I mean? Actual riddles. And so you can see Batman is working with the cops here. So that's another thing, is Batman, is he established already? Because I thought this was supposed to be kind of like year 2. Oh, my buddy Andrew just said that justice. The answer is justice. That's nice. Okay, since you brought that up, Andrew, let's talk about this. Does he doesn't have a voice in this. He's using his regular voice, it sounds like. Does anybody like that? Does anybody not like that? I didn't mind the Bale voice. I thought it personally made sense that he would change his voice to try to keep himself, not sounding like Bruce Wayne. However, I think it made a little more sense with Ben Affleck's character. If he's got all this money as Batman and Bruce Wayne, why not just use a voice modulator? I like that better. I think it makes more sense than the gravelly voice thing, because at the end of the day, wouldn't Bruce Wayne have a hoarse voice the next day? Which I guess it doesn't matter. He's a playboy. You could say he was just drunk and hungover and partying or whatever. But I think it just makes it smarter just to have a voice modulator. But I'm just curious if that's going to affect the difference of Bruce Wayne and Batman, if it's going to make sense, or if it's going to bother anybody, or if it's really going to matter at all. Because Michael Keaton even changed his voice a little bit when he was Batman. He didn't like make a gravelly voice, but he still tried to do the, what do you mean? Tell all your friends about me. He didn't talk his regular voice. I'm Batman. It was real low and gravelly, but it didn't have that swear to me, which I love. I still love that. I'm not dogging on it. I just think it makes more sense to have a voice modulator if you're going to really change your voice hardcore. But looks like they're not going for any of that in this one. So that doesn't bother me at all. I think it's fine. I just need Batman to be believable, and I need him to be the badass, So also going back to, we have Alfred in this, played by Andy Serkis, which I don't know if you guys know this, but Matt Reeves, which, did Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War of the Planet of the Apes, worked with Andy Serkis on both of those movies because Andy Serkis was Caesar and he was all the apes. He did all the CG motion cap for all that. And so he went to Andy Serkis in this movie and said, hey, you can have any role that you want, but I want you to play the Penguin. And Andy Serkis was like, that's cool, but actually I'd like to play Alfred. And he was like, all right, cool, you got it. Which I think that's interesting. And I never would have thought of Andy Serkis as Alfred, but seeing him in this, I guess for whatever Alfred they're going for, it works. And I mean, he does seem to be distinguished. And I think he's a better actor than he is a director. Venom 2. Ooh, sorry, I'm not trying to dog on you, Andy. I think you're talented. But I don't know if that movie was the way it should have went. Andrew says maybe they'll make his dialogue as Batman very minimal. Yeah, true. They could. They definitely could just hold it off, and he would just say one-liners like justice. The answer is justice and vengeance, things like that. But it looks like he's working with the cops. So that's another thing that I'm curious about on this. So, I mean, when I say working with the cops, I mean, he's like actually working like right next to him. And there's other shots that we'll look at in this where he's like around a bunch of cops. So I'm wondering how they're going to handle that with his voice sort of being the same. They might not, it might not matter at all. And they could go the route that Bruce Wayne is so lazy in this and he's so like not doing anything with his life that there's no way anyone would believe that Bruce Wayne is doing this. You know what I'm saying? So they could go that route. It could be that like, are you serious? Bruce Wayne is Batman? Come on. But it does look like the Riddler knows he's Batman in this because he does say Bruce Wayne at the end of the trailer. I don't think it's going to be an origin story. Andrew says, I hope it's not an origin story. We've all seen the story as Bruce Wayne as a kid more than one. No, I definitely don't think we're going to see that. They might reference it. They might refer to it like in a dream, or they might, show the pain that he's in and he's never gotten over it, things like that. But I don't think that we're going to see him going to the theater, the pearls and then the gun and all that stuff. But no. As much as I love Dawn of Justice, and I think it gets a bad rap as far as I'm talking about Batman versus Superman, as much as I love that, I think it definitely could have done without that opening origin scene. Because it's like, all right, cool. Let's watch Zack Snyder's version of what we already know hardcore. Like the thing about the Batman versus Superman movie I liked about it is because it's a story for the most part that hadn't been told on screen yet. But that opening sequence of the origin, it's like, oh, we've seen this. So it's like, all right, you did a good job with it. You filmed it great. Okay, here's the pearls. Here's all this. It's like, all right, now let's get to more of a movie. Like you could have even had Batman Dawn of Justice start off with him at his parents' grave, putting some flowers on there, 2 flashbacks of a gunshot and him as a kid with his parents, like 2 little just flashback shots real quick. And then him walking away from the grave scene. You could have had literally a 60-second segment explaining everything. Not even 60 seconds. You could have done it in 20 to 30. And then, and when I say explaining everything, just wrapping up the whole idea of like, all right, yep, here he is. He's Batman. Remember this guy whose parents died? Here he is. You know, that's what I wanted. Because you would have cut probably 10 to 15 minutes out of the film because that whole opening scene took forever. So, anyways, this is not about Batman versus Superman. I can get off on tangents hardcore. So, anyways, it looks like Batman's getting clues. So, right here, somebody's calling him with no caller ID. And it looks like Batman's answering the phone. Somebody else is holding the phone, and Batman's like pressing it because it looks like Batman's glove. And then we get a shot of somebody walking into frame right here. Now, I don't know if they're doing this just for fun, but to me, that looks like somebody with a top hat on, like the Riddler top hat, like a shadow of it right there, about walking into the question mark. I don't know. It just looks like it to me. It could be just a little nod for fun. I don't think that we're going to see this dude in a green costume with question marks and a top hat. I don't think that we're going to see that at all. But I do think that sometimes it's kind of fun to throw little things like that into a film. And then, again, look at Pattinson right here. Tell me that doesn't look like the Adam West cowl. Just black and not, light bluish. My buddy the other day was saying it was purple, and I think it's just the way you see it. But I think it was like a blue color. Anyways, but yeah, the Riddler's messing with Batman, leaving all this stuff right here for him, for the Batman. And I love it because this is the way he did stuff in the comics. Nice packages, little cool things that just make Batman fear something that's going on that he doesn't really know of and he can't control because he's being outsmarted. And it's not like Bane. It's not like to where it's like, oh, this guy is about to come in and just start rampaging and wiping out the city. No, there's something way more on the line here with him. Now, I think that it might be something to where he's got the city at stake and he's got Batman at stake, and he might be holding the Wayne Foundation under some sort of reputational hostage or something. I don't know. But I also know that they're supposed to be pulling a little bit from The Long Halloween. And they say this in the trailer too, that somebody's killing cops. And in The Long Halloween, somebody's killing off mobsters. And I know that John Turturro is playing, I think he's playing Carmine Falcone in this. So the Falcone family's in this. And in The Long Halloween, Catwoman's a big part of it too with the Falcone family, and these mobsters are getting killed. But the sequel to The Long Halloween, The Dark Victory, involves cops getting killed. And they get killed every month, once a month. So I think that they're doing some sort of hybrid with that a little bit. And I know that they're doing some sort of Falcone story with Selena Kyle, Catwoman, just because those characters are all in this movie. And you wouldn't be, if you're pulling from The Long Halloween, John Turturro is the Roman Falcone, and you've got Catwoman as a character in it. They've got to be doing some story there because those are some juicy stories from the comics. That's partially why Catwoman kind of is who she is because of the Falcone family. So I'm really excited to see what happens with that. If they're going to be killing cops or if they're going to be killing mobsters and cops, is the family going to be in the wrong, or is the Riddler going to be messing with the Falcone family as well? You know what I'm saying? Like, or is the Falcone family going to be teaming up with the Riddler? There's so much speculation, and this trailer doesn't confirm anything at all, which I love. Thank you for not spoiling anything. And here we go. More stuff. No more lies. Coulson. What is Agent Coulson in this? Sins of My Father. Savage. What does that say? Renewal is a lie. Yeah. So, and then Mitchell. So have no idea who Mitchell or Coulson is, but the Sins of My Father. So it's making me wonder if they're rolling a little bit with the way they did something in the Joker movie, the Todd Phillips film with Joaquin Phoenix, because they made Thomas Wayne out to be a little bit of a kind of a jerk, a little bit. Like he did good stuff, but he also was a little bit of a bad seed too. That's something that really wasn't ever explored in the comic books. I mean, there might have been a story here and there, but for the most part, Thomas Wayne was regarded as a good doctor. It was a good man, a philanthropist, kind of the way he was regarded in the Nolan trilogy. So I'm curious, just because this says the Sins of My Father, and it's clearly Bruce Wayne standing right in the middle of all that. just curious as to what this has to do, because it does say in the trailer, he's like, this does have something to do with you, Bruce. So just curious. And then we also see him from a down shot looking down all of these clues. And look, whoever said Pattinson wasn't in good shape, well, there you go. He is. He's in great shape. Remember those rumors coming out being like, everybody's saying he's being lazy and he's not going to. So much shit was being talked about this movie, that all from like Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson were not getting along at all. Pattinson was threatening to leave the set. He was being lazy. He wasn't working out compared to all the other people. And I mean, like I said, that clears it up, folks. He's obviously doing something for the film. He looks great. He looks like somebody I think that could actually win in a fight. You know, looks about like, not quite as shredded as Bruce Lee was, but he looks about the same style, you know? So that works for me. Zoe Kravitz is Catwoman. Best casting ever. I mean, obviously not ever. It's not the best casting of just all time, but man, if you look at Catwoman in the comics, especially the Jim Lee drawn Catwoman, she looks, I mean, it looks like her. It's very odd for them to find a human being that looks like somebody that was a drawn character. That just is amazing that they found her to be this and look this good as Catwoman. And she just, to me, looks fantastic. And it looks like that her and Batman are going to be having more of a team up style relationship in this instead of being against each other, which I like that. Catwoman and Batman, they've always had some ups and downs, and she's always been on the other side of the law, whereas Batman's on this side of the law some of the time. Sometimes he's above the law, but she's never been evil. She's never been somebody that wants to hurt Batman or put him down or like, she loves Batman. If anything, Bruce Wayne's major love interest in the comic books has always been Selina. That's his main love interest. He's gone up and down with other people. I mean, Vicky Vale was a person, you know, there are people that are involved in the comics, but Selina really was always his first love. And at some point they even get married in the comic books. So the fact that, like, he always lets Selina sort of just do her thing as long as she's sort of not causing too much trouble. And he doesn't want her stealing from people that, you know, too much. But like her stealing from the Falcones, that's not a big deal. But he wants to know why she's stealing from the Falcones. And so he's more of an investigator that way. He's not really so much ever trying to stop Selina, but he cares about her. And he's always wondering, she's up to something, and I wonder what she's up to, because that might even lead me to something that'll be good. And he doesn't ever want her to get hurt. So it looks like they're rolling with that in this, which I'm happy about. And it might be a little on the nose because, God dang, he looks so good in the suit right there, doesn't he? I mean, I'm sorry. That just really looks good. I like the tiny little spiky horns. The bat ears look good like that. The cowl just really looks dope to me. I'm very happy with it. And the fact that it's going with sort of a black and gray vibe, very cool. But she's talking to him, and he looks down, and there's a bunch of cats there. Like I said, a little on the nose. And he's just like, that's a lot of cats. I mean, like I said, that's a little on the nose for me right there. It's kind of funny. But the fact that she is just like drinking a glass of milk, then it's just like, all right, so we've got cats. That's a lot of cats. And she's drinking a glass of milk. But she looks just like Catwoman. Oh my gosh. I mean, the hair, everything, her face, her eyes, her ears, nose. I mean, all of it just looks like her. I love it. But then we get to see them fighting right here. So my idea and my thinking is they're going to meet, stumble upon each other's existence, cross paths, you know, and then they're going to actually be doing some fighting, maybe figure some stuff out while they're fighting, you know, do some more fighting. But look, then it looks like he slams her down right there to where he's on top of her. And it looks like this is probably where they're figuring out that, hey, something we have in common here. We might be after the same things. And the fact that they're giving her like this ski mask instead of like cat ears and goggles and all that, which I'm sure she'll have goggles on at some point. Some more fighting right there, which again, all very, very cinematic, which we're going to talk about some of the cinematic shots here in just a little bit, but looks like, but no, anyways, I like I like the fact that she's more of like the burglar style instead of, got all her own gadgets and everything to begin with. That was one of the things I didn't like about the Nolan Catwoman. Like she had, like, where'd she get all that stuff? Where'd she make all that stuff? I mean, you know what I mean? I liked it, but I got to say that Anne Hathaway is probably not as an actor, because she's a great actor, but that Catwoman is probably my least favorite Catwoman. I got to speed it up here though. We still got a lot to get to. So anyways, going forward, this is what I'm talking about. Cinematically, these shots look great. And you can tell they're in London right now. They said they were going to film in London and Chicago and New York, and I think Vancouver as well. But I mean, you can tell that that's somewhere in Europe. But I mean, it just looks fantastic. And he looks so good in the background, her in the foreground like that, just looks beautiful. Straight out of the comic shot right there. We talked about that in the last breakdown I did. Now this, I think that's the Riddler. Oh, let me get to the right one. There we go. I think that's the Riddler right there. And I think that I'm not sure that those henchmen that we see Batman fighting have anything to do with the Riddler. I think that they might be just a bigger part of some crime that's going on in the city, in this cesspool of Gotham, which is the Riddler refers to it. But I don't think that he's going to have like an army. So I think a lot of the stuff we see the Riddler doing is him doing it in this, which I like. I think that's cool. I like that this is this lone sort of anti-vigilante. He's this criminal that's smart and organized. But then Batman, again, analyzing stuff. And one of the things I like about this trailer too is they are showing that Batman is a detective. And remember, he was a detective in the comics. That was part of why he was such a good vigilante, is because he was able to outsmart these guys and figure out what they were doing, because he wasn't just a guy that got out there and was like, let's fight. That's kind of one of the things that separates Batman and Superman. Superman is that Boy Scout who's always just da 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 da, but sometimes he overdoes it and might destroy a whole city. And Batman thinks about that stuff. Batman outsmarts people. He's there before they get there because he's a detective mind. So the fact that they're using him more as a detective in this film on top of him being a vigilante, I think is great. More clues that he's looking at, obviously, right there, which I'm wondering what these cross marks mean, because we saw that in another picture that he was looking at when he looked at the phone. Like here, I'll show you, like right here. See those cross marks around where the question mark is? I'm just curious as to what that is and what that's going to mean, because it obviously means something if they're showing it twice like that. I mean, it's got to be some clues that he's latching onto in the film. And then here, showing the center of like Times Square, it looks like a hybrid of Times Square, London, and Gotham all into one thing, calling it Gotham. But I mean, they definitely are using a Times Square template. Again, I'm going through these shot by shot, guys. So Pattinson driving through the city and looking at this question mark here. And again, there it is with the symbols on the side of it. So is he creating believers in the city? Is he putting out this stuff that's starting to change people's mind to uprise? Because that's another thing. If he actually gets society to get on his side somehow and sort of start rioting or something, that's an interesting plot. I like that idea. Sort of a cultist type thing. But again, cinematically, right here, wow. I mean, that's something that I would like to hang on my wall. No kidding. I mean, if I had that long shot, like take off the top black part and the top black or the bottom black part, take out the widescreen format and just have that long rectangle tapestry right there, that'd be beautiful to have on the wall. Because you got the bat symbol in the back shining out on one side. You got him standing on the other side just looking. But to me, it's just a nice photograph, and it's very contemporary looking. I like that. Now here we got Paul Dano sitting in the coffee shop, where he was stirring this cup of coffee right here. It's got the question mark in it. And this is where he's saying, oh, Batman or Bruce or Batman. I can't remember what he says, but he's like, you think that this has nothing to do with you? Oh, you're not as smart as I thought you were. And then Batman's watching through there. And this is Batman with a bunch of cops. I mean, look, he's standing there with the cops watching through the window as they go in there and then bust down Paul Dano right there, the Riddler. And Commissioner Gordon standing in the back there about, this is, I think, probably going to be in the beginning of the movie, or maybe even midway through the movie. You never know. They might have a situation where they catch him and they still have to stop his stuff, kind of like they did in The Dark Knight. So I just love the idea of he messing with Batman and the city. Like, it looks like Batman has something at stake here without the city being at stake, but the city's also at stake. So that's great. And then the fact that he's working with the cops right here is interesting, because later on, it looks like the cops are against him. And I'm trying to get to that clip, but that might be on my next page that I'm going to have to switch to. But yeah, like, so right here, it looks like the cops are chasing him when he's flying up. Like, they're all running after him. So, like, what's going on right here for them to chase behind him? Because he's flying up to this deal, but it looks like just a few seconds ago in the trailer right here, he's standing right there with the cops. So, and it also, they didn't show it in this trailer, but there's another shot in one of the other trailers where it looks like him like pushing a cop up against the wall or something. And in the precinct where there's a bunch of other cops around, like he's starting to fight with a cop or something. So who knows? He could be on the cops at one point, he'd be on their side at one point, and then maybe something happens where they're not on his side. But also, just speaking to the cinematics of this film right here, it just looks like this door opening up into where he lives or something, and then just like Bruce Wayne walking through. I mean, to me, you have to film stuff to look really picture perfect every time while you're filming it. If you have a movie that you're just holding the camera and just filming people constantly and not really thinking about the foreground and the background and all that stuff, the movie can slip away from you later in life, like meaning that in 10 years, it's not going to hold up. But when you pay attention to these scenes like this and truly create some cinematic magic, this is the kind of stuff that holds up. You know, that's one of the reasons that, say what you will about all the Matrix films, they still hold up to rewatch because they are pretty to look at. They really look good. Now this, just amazing. Batman walking through and they're just firing the guns and he's just cruising, just walking through cruising, which obviously he's going to be bulletproof to an extent. It's greatness. And then immediately jumping to him and Commissioner Gordon looking around, searching for stuff together on their own. So again, the detective route. So what does this mean? Where it all began. I'm definitely thinking that this is going to tie into Batman's family somehow, like hardcore. And that would be something I would like them to do, simply because I want them to get to the Court of Owls somehow or another down the road. Because I think Matt Reeves is going to do a trilogy. And if they got the Court of Owls involved, and that was involved with Wayne's family and the Wayne history, the Wayne legacy, that'd be a really cool story, because the Court of Owls gets scary. The Court of Owls gets a little like, if they used the Court of Owls as a villain in one of these Batman films, we could get a really scary Batman movie, which I would love. I'd love to have more of a dark, horrific style of a Batman film. Anyways, moving forward, got some shots of Alfred here talking to him. We got, it looks like Batman, you can see right there, he's just about to pound on somebody, and it looks like this cop's in the background just watching. Batman going to town on these old boys, and I love these shots from the, again, they just look so cinematic and look so pretty from afar like that. It looks like they're like in a substation or something. And we've all seen that Batman wailing again. Pattinson got his all scratched up back right here. That's another thing. I like the fact that Batman's used and abused, because Batman doesn't just go in and come out okay. Definitely gets beaten up, but they pretty much cover that in all the films. I mean, they definitely make you understand that he's definitely taking a beating and sacrificing himself to make a better place for us. And right here, Batman taking the cowl off, just getting all pieced out up in his cave. And that's another thing. I'm curious what the cave is going to look like. Is it going to be just a small cave? Is it going to be just like a small workroom area, or is it going to be this lavish, crazy, awesome? You know, one of the things I liked about Batman versus Superman is that he did have this sort of like small, kind of techie dugout cave somewhere, but it got bigger and bigger. And then it's like all of a sudden in the Justice League, he just has all this huge area, this huge bunker underneath this water. And it got a little out there. I like that this is going a little more grounded. So yeah, make the cave just a small cave. More shots of little things. This pin, this cufflink. I'm wondering what this is going to have to do with the film. The Wayne family has something to do with the film. I know it does. patents again, this close up of the eyes. Man, I'm telling you, 1960s Cal right there. Commissioner Gordon. Now, I think this might be O'Hara. I think that this guy right here might be O'Hara. That's another just famous cop in the Batman world. But I think that, again, Batman's working with the cops right here. Or is he working with Commissioner Gordon, and Commissioner Gordon is vouching for him most of the time, and then finally maybe the cops have had it, and there's like, no, we got to stop this guy too. He's just as bad as the Riddler. Oh, we already saw these shots of him going up there. So I'm definitely I got to switch my brand here. I figured out a way to upload more photos on here. So see what I'm talking about now? The Batman is being chased down by cops. So it looks like they're after him. And of course, oh, I got a little ahead of myself there, but yeah. So see how we see Selina and Batman right there. It looks like she's consoling him. I mean, it looks like she's even wiping away a tear. So I don't know. It's something's going on to where it's personal to him, to where it's making him upset, because she's definitely consoling him right there. Oh, see the black makeup? That's the shot I was talking about right there. I like the fact that they show he puts black makeup on, and it wouldn't even take time. All he would have to do is just boom, 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 it's on. So the fact that he's putting that makeup on, and it just makes more logical sense. I love it. God dang. Another thing that they're doing in this too is like the edge of the bat symbol has got some sort of silver linings and everything. And that kind of is the way that they have the New 52 Batman. And the New 52 is sort of a line in the DC comics. It's hard to explain, but that he had a gold outline around the bat symbol on his chest, and not a gold circle or a yellow circle, but like the bat itself was outlined in gold. And you can see right there, it looks like they're kind of trying to just nod to that a little bit. I feel like they are. But it looks like that they're having some sort of an argument or something on the top of this building. And it looks like that they have a lot of interactions with each other in the film. I don't think that it's just once or twice here and there. I think they're going to be like in cahoots, because later on in the film, it looks like they're even fighting together. But it looks like that she's going in and out of some stuff, trying to figure stuff out, putting on different wigs. It looks like that she's taking some guys down on her own, doing her own stuff without Batman. And see, this is what I was talking about, that ski mask. But isn't it funny that it, like the sides of it have the little cat ear look to it? So I think that looks cool, but I don't know. I think it looks cool. I'm just not so sure yet. We'll just have to see, because this is only a quick clip. And see right there, she's talking to him, and it looks like it's like a ski mask, but she ripped the bottom off of it. And look, it might work once you start watching the film. It might be like, you know what, this is cool. Well, but we'll see. And then she's jumping off, doing her thing. Love it. I'm wondering what kind of tool she's going to use, though. Is she going to have like a grapple hook that she, shoots out or something like that? Or is she just like jumping onto those cables right there? And is she an acrobat? And now right here, this is hard to make out, but she's fighting with some dudes right here. And I think that she's literally got like a leather type skin tight suit on, like a bustier, and some leather pants that are all shiny. And I think this is a straight up nod to the 1960s Catwoman, because that, depending on, there were three Catwoman in the 1960s series, but a lot of times that she had that real tight leather on. I just feel like this is a nod to that. Because, I mean, Matt Reeves is a fan. He's already said that he is. But here's another shot of Selina. It looks like she's infiltrating something with this pink wig on now. And it's not the same wig that she had on this one right here. That's a different one. That's a short red, platinum red wig. And this is like a long pink wig. So there's something up. I feel like she might be infiltrating the mob family, and Batman may be helping her, but then he might be trying to stop her all at the same time. Bruce, right before this car is about to waylay into this crowd, and I'm thinking this might be a funeral for one of the cops that's gotten killed, or somebody that's gotten killed, but I think it's a cop because it looks like there's a lot of cops there. So it's probably a cop's funeral, and I'm wondering if it means something that cop was somebody to Bruce. You know what I mean? Like, why is Bruce really at this funeral, or is it just because he's Bruce Wayne and a cop died? But, I mean, it looks like, Bruce always saving the kid. Love that. And then this car's crashing straight up, and then this dude gets out, and he's got a phone in his hand. and it looks like he's got a camera. I don't know what's all attached to him, but like obviously Bat sees him or Bruce sees him. But then we see it right here, like this guy, like he's in the camera. Like it's hard for me to tell what's going on here. It looks like he's holding something, and it looks like the camera's taped to it, or the phone's taped to his hand. But again, that's the best shot there that I could get of it. And then this is great. Batman in the water. I mean, I love that. We knew that he was like going through the water here at this point with this flare. But I thought it was only like knee deep water, but like right here, he's like coming out of the water. I love that. And all these sirens are around him. And he's like, yeah, look at that. I mean, that's again, beautiful, just straight from the comics. I don't know how much sense it makes for him to get in the water with that suit on, but you never know. Maybe it's a wetsuit with armor. There he is right there. I think that that's a bunch of cops in the water following him, and like he's got a clue or something. Personally, that's what I think. Could be wrong, but I think that they're trying to figure out who the hell is killing these cops or who the hell is doing all this stuff. Because more stuff starts to happen. Now it looks like that there's bombs going off all around the city at the same time. So I think that the Ridski's up to this, or he's got some, or is the mob family and him in cahoots doing this together, or what? Is he blowing up mob family houses or condos? You know what I'm saying? Like what all is happening right here? But it's definitely hurting more than just Batman. There's more at stake. And then right here, all this water flowing through the downtown of the city. So it looks like he's like bust a water main or something, or a levee that's keeping all the water out. So it's not just Batman having an annoyance. This guy is actually doing some damage, or is causing something to create damage from other people or whatever, or getting people to uprise. Something's going on. The bat symbol again. Again, Batman talking to somebody. Like I said, I just basically put every shot in here. So I just kind of wanted to break down the trailer. Now we saw this fighting stuff here in the other trailers a little bit, and him, you know, whooping tail. And that's all. This is kind of when that Nirvana song music starts coming in. But then we get an aerial shot, and this is where Batman's right jumping off above that clock. He's about to jump off there because the cops are chasing him. And see right here, the cops are all chasing. That's Batman's cape about to jump off that building. So again, something's happened to where the cops are after him. And now we got Bruce in a hoodie with his black makeup on, which makes me think that he just got out of the suit somehow and he's in hiding trying to float around, and he doesn't want anybody to see him. So again, making me think that the cops are after him at some point. Then we got this little area where you can see it says change of Gotham. And this looks like it's like a, I don't know, maybe in that Times Square looking area, but a big public gathering area of some sort. And then something happens to where Batman's crashing down through it all. And then when he lands, I mean, it's just too good. But before he lands, you know, he's jumping off this little area, which like ironically looks like a bat, the top of the bat symbol to me. And then another thing is they show him flying real fast, like just real fast. And it's not like he's this cool gliding thing to where it makes like he's going really fast so he can get to where he needs to go and be sleek about it. I like that. But then as soon as he lands, I love that it looks like that he did something to make these guys like a power bomb or something where they kind of got attacked and blew away as he hit the ground. That's like a video game or something. But then again, just going to town fighting him. And what I like about the fighting in this is that it really looks like he could do it. And he's just taking what comes at him as it goes. I liked the fighting in the Dark Knight trilogy, in the Nolan trilogy, but some of the time it was a little too much of that. And that's cool, but it just, I don't know. This stuff looks a little more ninja-y, and you can see that Selina is fighting other dudes too, while it looks like Batman is fighting dudes. So this part right here is where it just kills me. This is where I'm just going to go through these clips. It's just like boom, 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 boom. And then when the camera's creeping up on him and he just turns around and it's just like, oh God, that looks so good. Now, only thing I can think of in this trailer as far as plot line is that people are getting killed, and I think it's cops, maybe mobsters as well, But something's going on with the Falcone. Something's going on with the Falcone family as well, too. I think that's why Selina's involved. And I think Batman's doubly involved with them because she's leading him to something, but he also doesn't want her to get hurt. They're developing a relationship. She understands him somehow because he understands her. And then on top of it, you got the Riddler messing with everybody and the city on top. Like, so it looks like there's a web of things happening here. Remember, the Penguin's in this at some point, at the beginning or at the end, or who knows at one point, but I feel like it's going to be the beginning or the end. But then it's coming out in March, guys. And I don't think that they didn't give us any more in the trailer than that. Like what I just talked about, I think that's what's going on. The Riddler's messing with people. Falcone family's involved. Cops are dying. Catwoman wants to know what's up because she wants to know what's up. Batman wants to know what's up too. And it's also affecting Batman personally. So that's all we know. Nothing specific. I don't think that there was a drop of a spoiler in any of these trailers, which I love that. Kudos to you, Matt Reeves. And so we got the Batman coming up soon, guys, in March. Real fast, I'm going to try to get this and end this on a really fun note because I feel like I can play this without getting copyrighted, but we'll see. We'll see if I can do it. So here we go, guys. We're going to play this real fast because this is just too badass. Ready? Here we go. Oh, God. That is too good. One more time. You ready? Here we go. One more time. Oh, my goodness. Jeez Louise. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It looks like I got another comment in. Oh, Andrew says they're going with the Batman Returns Catwoman to the Nolan Catwoman. Oh, I think they're going closer to the Nolan Catwoman. It's definitely not going to be the Returns. I mean, there might be some nods, but one of the problems with the Returns Catwoman is that she never had 9 lives and she wasn't a cat and she wasn't all that. I mean, that was stupid. Catwoman is a burglar and she's just cat-ish, nickname-ish is more of that thing for Catwoman. You know what I mean? It's not, there's no cat powers, but just for good measure, let's do this one more time, guys, just because it's just too good. And I think I can get it right. Here we go. Right where it needs to be. Hang on. Here we go. Oh, man. It's overload every time I watch it. It's too good. Well, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank y'all so much for watching for the trailer breakdown. I'll try to do some more here and there with the live streams. I don't really have a schedule anymore. I just kind of go in and out with it. Just do it whenever I can or something crazy like this comes up. But I still got my 4 Christmases review coming out before the end of the year, along with another little treat for you guys. So, hey, thank y'all so much. Click that subscribe button if you haven't done so already so you can make us to the top. And we'll see y'all later. Peace.